Man, guys, I gotta tell you, the stuff that's coming out from Disney is just, it's nonstop. Like, I'm having trouble keeping up with a lot of the scandals that are happening at the parks. And you know what? I'm enjoying reporting on the scandals because Disney deserves every little bit of nonsense that comes their way, because they have fostered this environment of nonsense to even happen in the first place. And I'm all for this. So what am I talking about? Well, apparently they're getting a lot of backlash now because Disney apparently has prohibited guests of certain body shapes. Okay. And again, this is in quotations because this is literally what they said: certain body shapes from attraction following a recent scandal. So again, ladies and gentlemen, Disney, the most inclusive of inclusive, right? Like they preach about being the most diverse and inclusive company ever in the world. Well, now apparently they don't like fat people, ladies and gentlemen. They have stopped overweight people from going on one of their rides recently, and they're getting an insane amount of backlash because, again, the wokies, they don't really care about safety. They don't care about the enjoyment of others. No. It's all about them. It's narcissism. And if you deny them what they want, they're not going to be very happy, and they're going to create this entire scene. So let's get into this article, guys, from Inside the Magic. But of course, before we do, guys, I'm Shadow Band as hell. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. I would really greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. So it says Disney World is, for the most part, meant for all guests. Now that has slightly changed after one attraction's size requirements sent a lot of tourists out of line. Lately, we have seen Disney make a huge push in the direction of inclusivity and diversity. The initiative is strung across from their Disney parks to the Walt Disney Company's content, from movies to series on Disney Plus and theatrical releases. Disney has indeed taken many steps towards ensuring inclusion is prevalent within the company. The Disney park celebrated Pride Month this year, larger than ever, with murals, merchandise, and more covering Walt Disney World Resort. Disneyland Resort held Pride Night, an after-hours event. We have even seen many accusing Disney of being too woke after finding out that the future live-action Snow White film starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot will not have a Prince Charming or the iconic Seven Dwarfs. I mean, listen, just if we're talking about Snow White real quick, that's stupid. That is absolutely stupid, okay? I've said that many times. Like, you have a Snow White show, okay? You have a Snow White movie. I'm sorry, not a show. You have a Snow White movie. This is the original animated feature film from Disney. It has a insane legacy with people, the likes of which it has gone through generations, right? Generations with the same story, and you want to change it now. You want to change it now because it's deemed not proper. It's not proper to have 7 dwarven people living in a cave, right? It's not allowed. It's not allowed to have a white female lead anymore, very rarely, right? So now you gave us a Hispanic Snow White, so the name itself is just completely thrown out. And then you got rid of the 7 dwarves because apparently hiring dwarves is not right for them because they don't like money. I guess dwarves don't like money, so you want to hire tall people to play the 7 freaking dwarves. You might as well just name it something else. But again, they don't want to name it something else because the clout comes from the name Snow White. The clout comes from that particular film, so they're going to steal the clout. They're perfectly fine with having the clout. They're cool with that. They're not cool with this, but they're definitely cool with having the clout. The clout means everything for them. So if they're going to make a movie, they are not going to care about the original story. They're not going to care about any of that because for them, it's not deemed modern enough. But they damn sure will care enough to keep the name because that's going to allow them to get some free movie ticket sales. At least that's basically their mindset. So it says, we have already heard of the progress coming along on the new Princess and the Frog attraction, Tiana's Bayou's adventure that is replacing Splash Mountain's racist undertone scenes due to the Song of the South IP, as well as changing the storyline on both Walt Disney World's resorts and Disneyland Resort's Jungle Cruise attraction to ensure cultural appropriation disappears. That's really stupid. Really, really, really stupid. I mean, I really don't know what else to say other than that's really stupid. All of these are excellent examples of how the company has looked to increase diversity within the company to create a more inclusive environment both on screen and in person. They're terrible examples. What are you talking about? This is why, like, Inside the Magic has a lot of reports on Disneyland parks, and it's hilarious the stuff they report on, okay? But it seems that a lot of their writers are woke as shit, and they love what's going on the main Disney scene, you know, with the TV shows and movies and whatnot. They love it. But I still use their website because they're the ones who are reporting nonstop on what's happening at Disney Park. Scandals and everything, they don't care. It said, that being said, size inclusivity is not always possible in the parks. Ooh, don't tell the fatties that. Many attractions are plus size friendly due to their construction, like Pirates of the Caribbean or Haunted Mansion. These rides do not have specific seats, so the width of the rider is never an issue. And if a lap bar is being used, it is not tight to the rider. At Universal Orlando Resort, the issue of guest sizing is very prominent, as the park has a lot of thrill rides which require more secure restraints. When a restraint has to be tightly locked to the guest for safety, it has a certain limit of how far down it needs to be pushed. Because of this, some rides are much more restrictive. A good example of this will be Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. It is not just weight that can restrict guests from riding some of these attractions, but height as well. Well, the thing is, with height usually comes weight, okay? Like normally taller people weigh more, you know? It's the way things are. You can't really fight that. So if you're tall, usually you are heavier than someone else who is shorter. But of course, that could just it depends. If you have a shorter, fatter person and a taller, skinnier person, usually the shorter, fatter person will weigh more. So it says, in the past, we have shared that plus-size riders have been having concerns when it comes to Disney attractions. For the most part, riders need not worry. As we previously mentioned, most rides are size inclusive. Even Remy's Ratatouille Adventure was recently changed to move the seat dividers off the ride, which previously indicated how wide a person would be. Now the seats are flat, so size is not an issue. Now here comes the good part, and where Disney is deciding that fat people are not allowed anymore. It says there is one ride, however, that has had many guests rejected at the loading dock. Tron Light Cycle / Run is the newest attraction at Magic Kingdom. Located in Tomorrowland, the ride is a copy of the popular Shanghai Disneyland coaster. When the coaster was brought to Walt Disney World Resort, the structure and design of the light cycle was not conducive to plus-size riders due to the locking mechanism on the back of the ride. Most recently, a sign has appeared in front of the attraction warning guests that size does indeed matter on Tron Light Cycle Run. The language on the signage has been updated to be reflected on the website. They said the seating and restraints on this attraction may prohibit guests of certain body shapes or sizes from riding. You know, I love to see them dance around the obvious. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to make anybody upset. So they use terms like certain body shapes or sizes from riding. So it's certain body shapes, but it's always the obese shape. So you might as well just say that obese people are not on the ride. But again, this is a company, right? They don't want to be sued. They don't want anything like that. So they use inclusive terminology. That's what they call it. They call it inclusive terminology. Luckily, there are light runners on 2 of the 7 coasters. A light runner is a normal-sized coaster cart with a lap bar, which resembles that of Big Thunder Mountain. It allows for a larger size range to be seated there, so if guests are unable to ride the forward-leaning motorcycle-style ride vehicle, they can be moved to the light runner. There are also test models of the light cycle out by the front of the ride. Although many have been using this space as a photo op, it is meant to be a test section where guests can see if they fit the attraction seat. In the past, however, we have shared the location of one of the test seats is too public for some to feel comfortable, one guest said. Listen, what do you mean? What do you mean? You should be fine. Like, just test it. Like, you don't want to admit that you can't write it? I mean, listen, if you don't test it, then you're just not going to write it. So either way, you're not going to write it. If you test it and you find out you're too big for it, you can't write it. If you don't test it, you can't write it because you're going to go up to the end of the line. You're going to realize, like, you're going to get denied, and that's going to be a problem. So just real quick, this guest said true, but trying the test in front of all the people walking into the ride felt embarrassing to me. I'm not saying Disney isn't accommodating people at all, just that it's odd and it's frustrating to me that the way the bikes work exclude more people than the average ride. I feel like there is a better way to secure the legs than what they currently have going on that would accommodate more people being able to ride on the bike and not have to wait for the few seats to sit up instead. Listen, or you could just like be healthier, you know what I mean? Like I get it, man. Not everybody can be skinny. It's just not how it works. But a lot of people are overweight by choice. They're not overweight by genetics or any kind of accident that happened to them or anything like that. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to save that for Cassie. She can rage on fat people. But I just found this to be funny because ultimately Disney prides themselves in inclusivity, diversity, and all this nonsense. And that usually does include the fat movement that's going on right now. And even Disney has decided that the safety of their guests is more important than pushing all this bullshit ideology. But they're definitely not going to do that when it comes to their TV shows, movies, and whatnot. They're going to keep pushing this stuff, just like good old Dove and all these other companies that are pushing this fat positive movement right now on us. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.